We'll set the dates for the June meeting. The workshop will be Wednesday, May 28th at 7 p.m. And the board meeting will be Monday, June 2nd at 7:30 p.m. The fire department is first on the agenda, and the fire chief is not here this evening due to another meeting he needed to attend, but has no report for us. We will go on to Culture and Recreation. Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Village Board. So we have a couple of upcoming things in the Village of Suffern. We were supposed to have this past weekend the river cleanup, but we have had to reschedule that. We do not have a date for that as of yet, so the date is to be determined. This week, hopefully the residents would have received, or as of Friday, would have received your calendars. The summer calendar with the addition of fall events just went out last week. We have a Recreation Board meeting this Thursday, May 15th at 7 p.m. in the community room. Pool pass registration will begin next Monday, May 19th, and then on the calendar it's all subsequent dates for pool pass registration. The pool will be opening on May 24th. It's the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. It'll be opening up Saturday, May 24th. Then the 25th and 26th, and opening up weekends until June 28th, where it opens for the summer for 7 days. And then the Memorial Day Parade, we have on schedule for Monday, May 26th, and it will be starting off at the Lot A parking lot. Lineup is 10:45, and the parade will be at 11:15. And then what I would like to discuss tonight is Clifford Theater. We currently have a $50 registration fee for anybody joining Clifford Theater. I would like to propose to raise the registration fee to $75 this year.
You know, in the workshop, we discussed the possibility of, there were two children from the same family, maybe 50. Could we make that part of the proposal?
I think that's a great idea, yes.
Okay, so I would move that $75, but if there's more than one child from the family, that would be $50. So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Can't hear? Jack, tap your microphone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Better. Can you hear me? Second. Okay.
Hello?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Thank you. I just wanted to add, we mentioned at the workshop, but I wanted to mention the lifeguards that we'll be accepting into the Village of Suffern this summer. We have Justin Caloras, Dan DiStefano, Eamon Goldman, Sean Haggerty, Molly Cowders, Tom Mahoney, Billy O'Connor, Alex Oliveto, Billy Osborne, Emma Patwell, Tim Patwell, John Redgate, Michael Redgate, Kelly Sheehan, and Kayla Simpson. Those are our lifeguards for 2014.
Okay, I'd like to appoint those lifeguards. Do I have a motion to confirm?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
And that's it.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, I'm going to go a little out of order. I'm going to skip over to my portion of the agenda. The item E, the dedication of the parking lots. I have Scott Shedler here from the Parking Authority this evening, and he has what I think is some wonderful news about dedicating some of our parking lots. So Scott, if you wanted to come up and
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Board of Trustees, for allowing me to speak. We have two items. First, what we'd like to do is continue the dedication of the parking lots. What we started a few years back is we started a program in the village of dedicating certain parking locations for certain what we call heroes within the village. The first parking lot was the T lot, which is down by the ball fields, and that a few years back was dedicated for an individual, Sean Flynn, and it was named the F lot. what we wanted to do is continue the naming and the dedication of the parking lots. The A parking lot would be the Richard Bosco, Robert Kirkpatrick, and John Ginley lot. The B lot, which is across the street from the post office, would be for a dedicated individual that helped out the village for years, Vincent Tamburo, and the lots outside Village Hall would be the Charlie Anaya and Andrew Fredericks lots. So we'd like to continue with that dedication in the next few months. We're going to, like we did in the last dedication, seek donations from businesses and community members to support the efforts. We got a tremendous dedication from Reno Contracting last year. In the last dedication, who did all the site work for free. So we're looking to partner up with some other business entities in the community, as well as volunteer groups, to get the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts and different groups to get together to get this project going. We think it fosters, it brings the whole village together, and it really recognizes people that have contributed to Suffern, and we feel are heroes in our community. So we're asking the village board for support, not monetary support, but support in us going forward with the continued dedication.
Scott, is there a time frame that you'd be looking at, dependent upon raising the funds?
Yeah, we're basically, we had a meeting prior to this. Our board approved it. So what we would do is move forward with the planning. We'd meet with DPW and public safety, with the chief, and just go over the location of the individual spots. And then we would move forward pretty fast track. We kind of, once we start, we just want to go get it finished and move forward. We're probably talking 3 months, hopefully by the fall. Another exciting thing, and then I'll go because I have to go to another meeting, is our parking authority tonight unanimously passed a resolution in support of the home rule legislation. That's going to hopefully maybe be sent to the state to work forward with the consolidation efforts that the village is looking to do with the parking authority. We think it's an outstanding idea. In today's environment, we need to save money wherever we can, and we need to pitch in together. I've been a volunteer for years, and probably will volunteer when the village is running it, but we're looking to work forward to saving the residents money, and that's really the key. So thank you, board and
Thank you,
public.
Scott. Do I have a motion for the parking lots dedications? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Scott. Okay, I believe it is 7:40, and we have a public hearing for the MS4 annual report.
Good evening, Mayor and the board. MS4 is the municipal separate storm sewer system, and it is regulated by the New York State DEC. The MS4 stormwater program has 6 elements called minimum control measures that will result in a reduction of pollutants discharged into the water bodies. Those 6 elements are: number 1, public education and outreach; 2 is public involvement and participation; 3 is illicit discharge detection and elimination; 4 is construction site stormwater runoff control; 5 is post-construction stormwater management; 6 is stormwater management for municipal operations. The Village of Suffern is a member of the Stormwater Consortium of Rockland County. The Stormwater Consortium has partnered with Cornell Cooperative Extension for education and outreach requirements, such as radio program discussing various PCA topics and education classes.
Thank you. Would anybody like to speak?
Jim Genatino to Memorial. I know we're converting all of our storm drains with the new smaller openings so that the debris doesn't flow into the river. My question is, I don't see anything being done with the outflow that goes directly into the river. You know, it's just an open, and some of them, I can walk it. That's how big they are. So there's nothing collecting any of the debris, or if there's, God forbid, needles or anything in there, there's nothing there at these outflows to collect any of that, which would do more damage than some leaves and papers going into the inflow. So that's a responsibility we have on MS4. We can't just worry about how it gets in. We got to worry about if it gets in, are we capturing it? And I'd like to know what we're doing with that.
Well, in regards to the outfalls, some of them, as Jim had mentioned, some are large. There are something that we've talked about for a while. There are some real challenges in trying to solve that problem. And in terms of capturing anything that might flow through there, does present some problems in terms of restricting flow down the road and so on and so forth. And in terms of any type of needles or anything like that, that's such a small item that we'd be very difficult to try to capture. But anyway, we have discussed it, and I think what we might be able to do, since we have the New York Rising project coming up, we could look at throughout the village how we can best address that.
Right. Thanks, Charles. Yes.
Well, again, that was something that we had talked about, and we're going to continue to look at and see if that will solve the issues for us. Well, I don't know if that's completely the case. It's well, I'll look into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Anyone else like to speak? Okay, may I have a motion? No. This is just, we're in, we're in a public hearing right now.
I'll make a motion the public hearing be closed.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay, so I need a motion for the mayor to, authorization for the mayor to sign and accept the MS4 annual report.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, moving along, village attorney.
Thank you. Apropos, the parking authority, as you know, and as Scott alluded to, for some time we've been looking at essentially eliminating the parking authority as a separate municipal corporation in order to consolidate services and to save money. In order to do that, the process that we followed was first the board passed a resolution asking the state legislature to prepare the appropriate legislation. That's been done. I've provided copies some time ago to the board. The legislation essentially transfers the functions to the village, assuming it's passed and signed by the governor as of December 31st. So the next step in the process would be for the village to pass the two home rule requests that I've provided to you. One is addressed to the state senate, one to the state assembly. And you do need a 2/3 vote on this.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried. Do you have anything else, Terry? Police Department, Chief Osborne.
Thank you very much. I have a few things, some retirements and some officer hirings to propose. I'm assuming you'd have to vote individually, am I correct? Not consent agenda, but like one name at a time for the retirements?
Retirements, did you one at a time, or we could do them all together?
Or you just accept it? Yeah, you can just.
You could do them all together.
Okay.
Hires you.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you, ma'am.
The hires we have to do separately, the retirements you could do all together.
Yeah, because it's pro forma when they file with the clerk. they're really retired.
Okay, thank you. In the retirements, we're going to propose to retire all three of them as of May 22nd. It'll be Detective Sergeant Raymond Sheehan, who's with our department since 1983. Sergeant John DeRoma, who's served with our department since 1986. And Sergeant Edgardo Alvarez, who's been with us since 1997 and formerly with the New York State Police. All three of them will be retired May 22nd, 2014.
I just want to say, Clerk, that in combined services, it's over 100 years of service.
Yeah, they've had some time.
Yeah, that's some time, and all such great attributes to the police department. I wish them the best of luck as they go out, and they certainly will be missed. But I know that Sergeant Jerome's smile has not left his face since he has signed his paperwork. So
Yeah, exactly.
that's been a welcome change and good to see. So
And if it's okay, I'd like to bring them in maybe in June to give them plaques of happy
I would like that if we could.
All
That
right,
would be
thank you.
wonderful. Do I have a motion to accept? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. The hirings, I have 4 officers to propose. The first one, there's no particular order. These are all off the civil service list of Rockland County. We have a village resident list. We'll be hiring off of all residents. The first one will be village resident William Samura. He's currently in the Rockland County Police Academy pre-employment program. He's putting himself to the academy, so he'll come out trained. He is a United States Air Force reservist and a Rockland County paramedic. Billy brings a host of qualities to our department, and he's a longtime village resident.
Chief, is it determined at what salary they're beginning? Has that been determined?
Matt, it is, and I apologize, the starting salary, I don't have it in front of me. I can go downstairs and get it if we need it. Yeah, it's part of the contract, but yes, they do that.
Okay, does anybody know what it is, though?
I apologize, I have to downstairs.
Okay, we can come later, that's fine.
Okay, you got it.
50. I think it's 50,796.
Yeah, it's quoted on a 50, correct.
But I don't want to be quoted. It's 50,700 and something.
Okay, thank you.
And this will be subject to a probationary.
Correct, I was going to say, subject to probation, and also, they have 2 more steps. They've gone through several phases. There's a psychological and a medical, which is all basically handled by the Rockland County Department of Personnel. So they have to pass those next 2 phases, and a satisfactory background check by us, which we're going through right now, which it seems pretty well on all 4.
Starting date?
June 1st, correct, Chief?
They would look for, you know what, I don't want to give a date yet, and I'll tell you why. Because personnel is going to determine when they get the tests, and once they get the test, I will have to, we can set a date now, but I don't know if they're going to be complete with the last 2 phases. Personnel could not give me a definitive
Why don't you
date.
say not before, but subject to...
I would say not before June 1st, definitely.
Yeah.
It'll be after
Right.
June 1st, I can guarantee that.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. Second candidate will be village resident Mike Careswell. Mike is currently an Amtrak police officer certified. He was a United States Army veteran. He served 16 months in Iraq. Very good addition as well with Mike. He's very highly touted by Amtrak.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
I can't hear who's down there. I can't hear a thing tonight.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. Third one will be Ryan Ortiz. Ryan Ortiz is a lifelong village resident, currently in the Rockland County Police Academy pre-employment program. All 40 candidates scored in the top of our civil service list. He's a United States Marine Corps reservist, and he's currently a dispatcher with the Suffern Police Department, with our department downstairs.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
We all have to lean forward so we can
Mrs.
see.
Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. And last but certainly not least, will be Andrew York, longtime village resident, currently employed by the New York City Police Department, graduate of West Virginia University, and a former dispatcher with the Suffern Police Department. He's already certified with the NYPD.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Hagen,
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan,
Yes.
Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion is carried.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Board, for your support. I will keep you informed via email or phone call when I get some more definitive dates and personnel.
Thank you,
And
Chief.
thank you very much for your support, all of you.
Okay, good luck.
Okay, audience I'm sorry, Kathy?
I'm sorry, Mayor. I forgot to add something when I was up before. Would I be able to add it now?
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to ask for permission to hire the directors and the musical directors for the Clifford Theater, which will be beginning next month.
So moved.
Do we know who they are?
Yeah, well, we should say who they
Yes.
are.
Okay. Chris Abato will be the director this year,
Never
as he has in the past. We have Jillian Munez will be the assistant director, and we have Kimberly Duncan will be the music director this year.
So moved.
I just
Same
want,
salaries as last year. Second.
and then we have auditions for Clifford Theater starting August 20th, 21st, 22nd. Thank you. I'm sorry I forgot that.
Mr. Meehan had a question.
I'm sorry.
Same salaries as last year?
It will be a little increase. I have the numbers. I don't know if you'd like me to give me the numbers. It's a 3% increase, which has been the case for the years.
Fine.
No, auditions are May, not, you said August.
No, you said the
The show dates are August 1st.
The show dates are August 1st and August 2nd.
Right.
Auditions are May 20th, 21, 22.
She said August. You put them all together.
Sorry, got it all together. Sorry. Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good luck.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Mr. Hagen,
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan,
Yes.
Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
Yes.
and I abstain, as these are my children.
No.
Motion is carried.
Only two of them are your children.
Only two, that's
Only
true.
two.
I vote yes on Kimberly Duncan.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, I'm sorry, audience participation. And if you'd like to come up, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address.
Rich Cobb, 88 Lonigan Drive. Haven't been able to come here for the past 3 or 4 months. Been
And we
away.
have missed you.
Oh, I bet.
We did.
I'll make up for it now.
Okay.
I'd like to know the status of what's going on with our river. We came close the other night.
Mhm.
So, can you tell me what's going on? I heard
Sure.
that the village has received some money, and
We-
there's other money in the works coming from the state, I think, or FEMA, or county, or what.
Okay.
I'm not really sure
We,
anymore.
we have been approved for monies. We have not received any money yet. We are beginning the process now of a 8-month process for the $3 million, which we were awarded through the New York Rising. We actually had 2 dates of cleanup plans, which we both, due to conditions of the river and the weather, we had to postpone. We are going to be doing that again in June, putting those dates back together again so that we can get some of the river cleaned out, the beds and so on and so forth. I should probably add that we've had a wonderful response from the community as far as volunteers and as far as our business owners getting involved, which is wonderful to see our community coming together with concern about Lonigan Drive and the flooding there. But to date, we have not received any cash in hand yet, Rich, unfortunately. So we continue to do what we can do here ourselves. And then once in 8 months, we should be receiving the projects that have been decided upon by the committee, and they will be brought to the village board for approval. So the actual projects that are going to be considered are going to come from the committee. It does not come from the village board. The only thing the village board has is, at the end of the day, the yay or the nay on the project.
Okay.
So we're really very excited about this money, and I feel that the people who have come forward, a couple of them are in the room tonight, to volunteer for this committee have a lot of knowledge of the river, have lived through the rages of the river, and have taken a great loss. So I believe that we have a good representation of people who are knowledgeable.
Well, I'm
So-
glad that, it's about time that, I hate to say it like this.
Yes.
It's about time, after all these years, the village is showing something and taking,
Absolutely.
What about the quarry? How does the
Okay.
village stand with the quarry? From what
Okay.
I understand, that's been checked out by the concerned citizens of Suffern, who basically got together on their own because nobody seemed to give a damn. Excuse my language.
Okay, I did give a darn about
Okay.
the quarry, and I was very involved in trying to substantiate that something done at the quarry could actually help the flooding down at Squires Gate. And although it's minimal help to the river, I believe at this point we need to take whatever we can get. As you know, I think that the town of Ramapo is waiting for word on a $5 million grant for a siphoning system at the quarry.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. To date, we have not heard anything back yet. I believe, and I'm told, that at the end of May, we should be getting some kind of a decision on that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and as soon as I know, I will certainly let everyone else know.
One more last thing.
Sure.
I've been complaining for many years as far as the river cleanup. The first time, it was good. They took 20, 25 truckloads of stuff out. Where I live, the bank across the other side is loaded.
Yes.
It's loaded. There's blacktop on there. There's concrete. There's 6x6s. There's so much garbage up there.
Well, I have good news for you. While you were gone, I was busy at the river, and I identified all of that, and that will be part of the cleanup.
I thought that was the homeowner's responsibility.
Well, we're going to get it all cleaned up, Rich, because it's not getting taken care of, and then we are sending letters out to all the homeowners on that side, letting them know that it is their responsibility, and in the future, they will receive violations if they do not comply.
The reason I said it like that, sort of sarcastic, is because over the many years I have, asked for something to be done, and I was told, it's your problem, you have to clean up yours.
Right.
Nothing
Well,
else seems to be.
we're all going in together, and we'll get it cleaned up, and we're going to start from clean, and all of the residents on that side are going to get letters letting them know what their responsibilities are, and that it is illegal for them to dump anything down that embankment.
One other thing, nothing to do with that. The playground. Not the playground that they're going to build eventually, but the park, the Donna Howard Park. The sidewalk over there, it's broken. There's concrete sticking up. Some small kid is going to come over there, trip and break their neck, and there's a wonderful lawsuit against the city.
Yes, now that the warmer weather has come in.
Now, this has been over the years now.
Right.
But I hope things start to get together now.
I've been on it, and I spoke to Mr. Hunt, and now that the warmer weather has come in, he has identified all of the places. There's a lot of sidewalks in the village that have lifted and are a safety issue. He has now addressed them, has identified all of them and will be addressing them one sidewalk at a time.
Okay, one more thing to the chief. That stop sign over there, not the one Orange Avenue is bad too. I'm sorry, Orange Avenue is bad too. But the one on Temple and Lonigan, they're going through that thing like crazy, especially in the evening when it's dark. So it's a good money-making thing, for the village and all that, but at least you can stop some kid from maybe getting hurt. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rich. Anyone else like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Marna Walliver. I'm a representative from American Legion Post 859 here in Suffern. The auxiliary will be asking for donations for the poppies, and we hope to see you in the village, and we hope to see you on Memorial Day for the parade, and to also give a donation for the poppies for our veterans. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Stone, 25 Temple Lane.
Can you just speak closer to the microphone, sir, so we can hear you?
Joseph Stone, 25 Temple Lane. This is in regards to the park that's supposed to go in next to my house.
I'm sorry, say that again, sir?
The park that's supposed to go in next to my house.
Temple Park?
Yeah, that stand of trees has to come down. I'm warning you now, some kid's going to get killed. Just 3 weeks ago, 2 missed my car.
Okay.
It fell right across the whole lot.
Okay.
Now you better do something before you put a park in. They all have to come down, and like the gentleman said, if you're gonna bring children there, you can't bring them on a broken sidewalk.
Okay,
So I'm putting you on notice.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. In the future, Joe, in the future, if you see something like that, could you call us right away instead of waiting for the board meeting? Because then we can get somebody out there right away. Okay. Call Virginia, and Virginia will get it to the appropriate department. Okay. You could call in the morning. Okay, great. Okay.
Good evening, Jeff Genser, 32 First Street, Suffern, New York. Just have a few things I'd like to bring to the board's attention. And first one is a question to the chief. Is riding a bicycle on the sidewalks in the village of Suffern legal? Is it a bicycle offense or a criminal offense like it is in New York City? Because in New York City, if you ride a bike on the street, it's a criminal offense. I'm serious. I give bike safety classes in Manhattan now. So I almost got run over 3 times as I was walking onto the sidewalk. Ramapo Avenue. 3rd time, 3 strikes, I was almost out, but I'm alive. Not that anybody cares. I'd like to just say thank you for the mayor to put speed bumps on the agenda for Ramapo Avenue. I see that it's the last thing. I don't know if I'm going to be around for it, but I'd like to thank you for considering them. I've been asking about them for many years. I'm going to bring up a couple of things that's been bothering me. We have been apparently given a new village justice, Justice Alan Simon from the town of Ramapo. And I feel that, you know me, I speak my mind. It's a blight on the village to have him as our village justice based on his past history. Now, maybe you're going to think it's the pot calling the kettle black, but I'm not an elected official, and I don't think I ever will be. He is a justice who has been behaving atrociously in many of his past positions at the town of Ramapo. It's all well known by, I'm sure, most of you on the board. I don't have to tell you about it. And I object to it, and I'm asking that we use some kind of a mechanism to get him removed and replaced. He doesn't belong as in any government capacity as a justice here in the village. That's my opinion as a resident. And then I'd also like to bring in the same vein Mr. Nathan Oberman's position on the zoning board. He's also part of the town of Ramapo government, and has been for many years. Now, the allegations against him are some of the most serious allegations that could ever be brought against an employee of a town. He's potentially, allegedly involved in the commingling of monies, the Ramapo town money and the Ramapo Local Development Corp's money, which is totally illegal. He was involved with commingling that money when the ballpark in Pomona was built. And by having him serve on our zoning board, I think it's besmirching the reputation of the village of Suffern. And I wanted to bring this out. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, but I think it's really some serious things you need to consider, and I hope you'll consider them. And I would ask that both of them be removed from any type of village position. All right?
Do you want me to talk about those, or you want to go on?
I'd just like to say I'm glad that I noticed afterwards that you are going to talk about the review of the pilot agreement, which I didn't notice until a few minutes ago. I'm curious to know how that went, and I'll be patient to listen.
Okay.
course, I don't want the pilot. Thank you.
Okay, let me just say, I feel like these are not working. Are they working? They're not working, right? Hello? What? Are they working? Now it's working. Okay. First, I'll talk about Judge Simon. I think, as most of you know, Judge Simon was appointed to us. It was not our choice. Had we brought in our own judge, we would not only have to pay Judge Ackerson's salary because he is still our village justice. He just cannot be on the bench. So we would not only have to pay Judge Ackerson's salary, but we'd also have to pay the salary of the judge that we chose to bring in. And it would also take a number of months for us to be able to establish that judge here. There's a process that has to go through. So Judge Ackerson's term is up in December. So he is, from what I understand, he's not seeking re-election. I do check with the court to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So far, so good. I've had no complaints. So that being said, we're trying to ride it out until the election comes up, and at that point we'll have our own newly elected by the people village justice. On your second point with Mr. Oberman, Mr. Oberman has been on that board previous to him being part of the town of Ramapo. Jeff, right now there are allegations. Certainly, if these allegations became something that is a proven fact, then a conviction, then of course the village board would take action immediately. So, yeah, an allegation isn't, I mean, you're innocent until, I think in an indictment we may sit and talk about the possibility of maybe, I mean, and I'm just saying possibilities. Innocent until proven guilty, correct. So, you know, I think that it's something that we'll have to visit if something does come down. But at this point in time, innocent until proven guilty. So I don't believe we'll be taking any action at this time. But if it is warranted, we certainly will. Okay, would anyone else like to speak?
Good evening, Mayor Abato and the village board. I'm Carolyn Suffern, your pen pal. My home is in Knoxville, Tennessee. I live in Croga Lake, New York during the summer. Before I begin my remarks, I'm going to reference two paintings, inherited family paintings that are very important, I think, to my family, but also to the village. This one many have seen is John Suffern's home. This is Lafayette Avenue, this is Washington Avenue. The Lafayette Theater is right there. And this is the second one. This is the home of Judge Edward Suffern, who is the Suffern family member who granted all important right-of-way to the Erie Railroad.
We can't hear you, Carolyn. You got to move closer.
Okay, well, I'm trying to let you see that. I'm sorry. This is the home of Judge Edward Suffern. It's located where Avon is now. It's called the 6 Mile painting because he said when he sat on his front porch, all land he saw was his, extending 6 miles into Bergen County, New Jersey. He owned the Ramapo Pass, owned up to the Ramapo Pass. He did grant right-of-way to the Erie Railroad, allowing construction of the railroad, and thanks that Erie named the depot Suffern Station, leading to the current name of the village. This is Washington Avenue. Craig Long said, I was trying to figure out when this was painted because I knew some various dates. Craig Long said, that's Christ Church without the steeple on it, so it was built in 1860. Mawa River's here. Anyhow, I'm going to reference these, but I just wanted to show you, and anybody's welcome to look at them. I am a 7th generation descendant of John Suffern. Maybe that my Ramapo Lenape friends say that's probably what's going on with me. Anyhow, an article recently was published in the newspaper of my upstate hometown reporting the village of Northville that was founded in 1780 has been added to the state and national register of historic places. I wish I had been reading the same news about the village of Suffern, which is as historic a place as any in the United States. Inclusion in this national registry makes available the federal tax credit program that supports so well rehab of existing buildings like those in Suffern. My home now is in Knoxville, Tennessee, where our downtown has gone from being all but a ghost town to now being a thriving hub where many live and visit. Once drab apartments have been transformed and now are showcases of refurbished buildings at their best. Our downtown restaurants are filled, our shops are interesting and busy. This turnaround in Knoxville began because our mayor instituted the tax codes that support rehab rather than demolition of existing buildings. Becoming an historic district could help Suffern have it all. Existing buildings rehabbed to create exciting additional residential spaces that would be much in demand, especially with the new Tappan Zee Bridge bus rapid transit. New construction, perhaps in the area of Cross Street and Upper Washington Avenue, as well as increased visitation by tourists. Governor Cuomo is quoted in the article saying, "Preserving these historic sites helps promote tourism, one of New York's fastest growing industries, especially upstate." In 2011, I was advised by a senior market analyst of tourism for the U.S. Department of Commerce that in 2010, 33% of all international tourists visited New York City, where they spent $42 billion. I think Suffern can attract some of these international visitors and their money. The crossroads of Suffern began as trails of indigenous Native Americans whose descendants now have a spectacular museum which, if sited in Suffern, could do much to attract high-level tourism. Traffic for tourism here could be managed as it is in Cooperstown, where visitors are encouraged to park in a system of outlying parking lots with trolley rides to important sites. The crossroads of Suffern were all important during the Revolutionary War. In 1955, historian Saxby Valure Penfold, in his book Romantic Suffern, wrote of the strategic importance of the Ramapo Pass, writing, quote, "The Ramapo Pass is entirely lost sight of in all the published histories of the U.S., in part to the fact that its very importance caused it to be kept secret. All military operations were carefully concealed." Historians harp on Bunker Hill and make history center about it. As soon as the rebellion was found to no longer be local, as soon as 13 colonies instead of one were seen to be in revolt, the scene shifted to New York, and the Ramapo Pass was the prize to be fought for, unquote. Heritage tourism built around Suffern's role in the War of Independence and the Ramapo Pass would attract many. At war's end, John Suffern bought the blockhouse that guarded the pass. In later years, his son, Judge Edward, donated the door to Washington's headquarters in Newburgh. This door still exists, and Suffern can have it back to help showcase its important Revolutionary War history if it wants it. On August 25, 1781, French General Rochambeau and his 5,000 soldiers made encampment in Suffern as they were on their way to Yorktown, Virginia, where they defeated the British, essentially ending America's War of Independence. The National Park Service now honors this route with the Washington-Rochambeau Revolutionary Route National Historic Trail and will install wayside panels in Suffern later this year. They have lent this banner to me to share with you, thinking perhaps the village would like to hang these banners on village streets. I will be leaving this one with Craig Long. I've been able to purchase 2 bills submitted to John Suffern on August 26, 1781, the day after Rochambeau left Suffern, for services rendered to French troops. They say, quote, "John Van Houten served 2 days with a 2-horse team to transport the baggage of the French army and allowed 1 day to return home," unquote. Adolphus Wanamaker, quote, "found pasture for 98 head of cattle belonging to the 1st Division of the French army one night," unquote. Adolphus lived on Orange Avenue. He is Craig Long's ancestor. His son Christian and wife John Suffern's daughter Maria lived on Orange Avenue as well. We have a picture of their tavern. I also have an original document of the 1806 boundary survey of the disputed New York-New Jersey line that includes mention of Christian A. Wanamaker and Mrs. Perhaps these documents, as well as the photo of their tavern, could be included in a booklet created for visitors to use on a self-guided tour of the village. I would help write it if asked. Suffern has a unique history to attract French visitors. The W3R is a collaboration of France and America, and 5,000 French soldiers once made encampment in Suffern. A guest book designed could be offered to descendants of these French soldiers who visit this place that is in such close proximity to New York City to learn more about where their ancestors once made encampment. Suffern has important ties to France's most important admiral, Pierre-André de Suffren, which could recognize the name of but upon his death, and I have documentation for this.
Carolyn?
I'm almost done.
Okay, yeah, because I wish you would have let me know. I would have put a room for you on the agenda for you to give a presentation. I didn't know that you were giving a presentation.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Can I just finish?
Yeah, please
I'm sorry. He is the artist of the painting of John Suffern's home and of Judge Edwards' home that shows the 6 miles of land he owned leading to the Ramapo Pass. He was fleeing France as the last vestiges of the Bourbon dynasty were finding refuge with his cousins in America. My friend, who is the French Honorary Consul in Virginia, has urged Suffern to invite the French ambassador to the village. She said he would be interested to know of Suffern's French connections. On my trip north from Knoxville last week, I stopped in Wilmington, Delaware to pick up a pair of portraits being donated to the village. The 93-year-old owner told me in 1950 when she bought them, she was told they were Suffern's and they are from New York. I am certain, and I can tell you why later, these are the wedding portraits of Judge Edward Suffern, son of John, and his bride, Judge Jane Cassidy. I have original documents associated with him, including 2 of his letters. In one letter, he offers advice to his son, Andrew, as Andrew was considering running for political office. Edward cautions his son to consider the demands of his time and family finances, and also advises you can't always trust those around you, naming NCB, whom Craig Long advises was N.C. Blaveau, perhaps the ancestor of the late Mr. Blaveau, who lived on Chestnut Street. It was Judge Andrew who granted right-of-way, as I've said. These portraits now are entrusted to Dan McInerney and Craig Long, who await Mayor Abato's input about where they should be hung. I would gladly share my documents if they were interested to bring Judge Edward, quote-unquote, to life a bit. Thinking, or at least hoping this village will have my name for generations to come. I wish Orange Avenue would be spared from oversized development projects so the aesthetic charm of the village and its important history might be retained. I wish the old hotel would be restored to offer lodging within the village in walking distance of public transportation. I wish an historic district could be created, and I wish efforts would be made to develop tourist interest in the village. I've shared the image of John Suffern's Tavern in the 1781 bills of the National Park Service, and have offered the image of Judge Edwards' homes to your Chamber of Commerce for their new brochure. I offer any and all of my Suffern family artifacts and documents to help support economic development in the village of Suffern. I feel as if we are all in this together, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Carolyn. Carolyn, next time you come and you want to give such a wonderful presentation, let me know so that we can put you on the agenda. Thank you. Jim?
I notice you have Memorial Drive on here again. We're not going to vote on that again, are we?
Vote on what?
For the speed bumps and the lowered speed limit?
You're stealing my thunder. We're not going to use speed bumps, the removable ones. We're actually going to put...
The humps, yeah. We voted on that in September.
Not the humps, though. We got to do the humps.
Yes, we did. Page 28 and 29 in your minutes.
Okay, well, we're going to do them again because we're putting them in and they're going in this
I actually thought you forgot about them.
No, they're going in, we're putting them in, and so we'll do them all.
Because the pool's going to open up and Little League's down there playing.
We're doing it all. I'm sorry? Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to talk about it in a little while, Jeff.
Okay. I would like to take this couple of minutes to commend Kathy Mills on her outstanding performance over the 1 year that she's been here. She has instituted a lot of new programs, and the seniors really appreciate it. The Zumba, senior art classes, the dog training at Leiden, meet and greet for the chamber and working on the playgrounds. So I know everyone was kind of fearful when Gail left, but I think we found the gem, and I'd like to commend her. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, anybody else like to speak? JP, you just cut Isabel off. You just cut Isabel off.
Lady before gent.
He was driven, Isabel.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I came here tonight because I had heard that the village of Suffern and the village of Airmont were considering joining the police department, the Suffern Police Department. Now, I see there is a resolution on this going to be done tonight. I see it's amending the Rockland County Police Act. I don't know if I'm ahead of the game or if I should just wait and tell you what my opinions of this is, or should I let you know now?
No, go ahead, Isabel. And
Okay.
then I'm going to be speaking about it later on in the agenda, but certainly give us.
You're going to be talking about it?
I am going to be talking about it.
Yeah. Well, I won't get a chance to talk then, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying go ahead.
Okay, well, okay. Wait a minute now. Okay, we are a small 2 square mile village, 2 mile square village, and Airmont is probably twice as large as we are. A few years ago, back there, they tried to have us snow blow and clear their village streets, and also they requested we build a structure so that they could store their snow blowers from a private concern in our village. Thank God those requests were never granted. Now they want our police department because they don't like dealing with the town of Ramapo. I'm sure that's the reason. We in the village have at least, I don't know how many police we have, 24 policemen and women to cover our village right now. How many more will we need to cover the much larger village of Airmont, and how many more police cars will be needed? Granted, they will give us money to cover these expenses, but do we really know how much that will cost? Once they get a couple of cars, how long will it be before they'll want more? Why don't they create their own department? I'm sure it's because it would be very costly. After our police department, then what will they want? Our water and DPW? They wanted their own village. Let them maintain their own services. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabel. And I will talk about it later and answer your questions. Thank you. I told you to get DVR. DVR.
She doesn't have a DVR.
We're getting you a DVR, Isabel. When's your birthday? We're getting you a DVR. Anyone else like to speak? Oh, JP. He wanted to make sure nobody else was running.
He didn't want to cut anybody else off.
It's safe to come on.
Yeah.
My name is John Paul Malfetta. I live at 600 Mohawk Court, and I'm here to talk tonight about the pilot program, and I know that there's a lot of people who are against the program here, and a lot of you spoke and made a lot of sense today about some of the other concerns that you have. But I'm doing real estate in this county now for 9 years. My grandparents had a business here for 20 years. My mother had a business here for 25 years. And I am very interested in seeing Suffern progress and at the same time seeing Suffern maintain the village charm that it has, that I've fallen in love with, which is a reason why I live here. However, I'm also seeing an exodus in real estate in this county, more specifically in this township, and in the Suffern, Montebello, and Airmont area. And we're seeing a lot of people move out because of tax burdens and the inability to maintain home ownership For a lot of you that bought into this village many, many years ago, you're probably not carrying mortgages anymore, and so the affordability doesn't hit you as hard in the pocket. But for a young family, for me and my wife and my 18-month-old baby, we often watch where we spend our money and watch where we buy our real estate. And I think what you're seeing here with this proposal for the pilot program is an invitation to get people here as opposed to leaving here. We are trying to invite people to support our downtown. You're trying to invite them with tourism. I think that's a great angle. I don't think that that's something that should be abandoned, but specifically to this project that is on the back end of an approval for the pilot program, it's an opportunity to jumpstart what is lacking so hard in this village. I grew up in Newburgh, New York, a beautiful town on the water, beautiful city with a tremendous amount of history. Since I was 5 years old, we've been talking about redeveloping Newburgh and how it has hope, and it's gonna happen. Well, it's not gonna happen if things stay the way they are. The hope for preservation and the hope for remodeling could maybe be done one building at a time. And here in Suffern, we have a facade program which gives us a tremendous amount of money for grants to redo our brick and mortar buildings. And yet we have multiple building owners that, if only asked to contribute 5% to the remodel, they can't afford, for whatever reason, to contribute. And so this preservation project to help restore our downtown now becomes a remodeling of wooden signs that are misproportionate to where they should be. And it's a failure. And I think what happens is we keep trying to make decisions without consulting real professionals. And the village board has done a great job at challenging these developers that have come in and forcing them to relook at their pilot program and making this program more profitable to Suffern. And it's finally getting to a place where it makes sense financially, because a month ago, 8 weeks ago, it made absolutely no sense. And now it's finally starting to make sense. And I just think that abandoning the program for the sake of preserving some historical sense, I don't think that that's going to detract from the beauty of the village of Suffern. There is no beauty on Orange Avenue. It's a blight, it's an eyesore. It's the one thing that I hear from both commercial and residential people, that when I bring them into our downtown, it's shanty, and it frustrates me. I live here. I love this place. But I don't want to perpetuate what's already here. I don't want to continue to support just that area. I'm not saying that that area should extend, or a project like that should extend for all of downtown Suffern. We have a lot of beautiful buildings that range from Orange all the way up to Washington, and some other buildings from Chestnut to Wayne. But we don't have that on Orange Avenue. And that hotel, if you've been in it, is the saddest form of living in downtown Suffern, with communal bathrooms and poor electric. And now that I've learned, since listening to all these forums, contamination under the site, and it's not a site that's going to be developed, and it's certainly not a site that can be afforded to be preserved by any grant money that we might get for historical preservation. So I know I'm the minority here, but I just, as a young person who's looking to plant the seeds here and continue to live here, I would just hope that everyone considers, for just this little section of downtown Suffern, that we give it a little bit of jolt in the arm and invite some people, invite them to live in a beautiful new building where they can walk a block and enjoy an old downtown with a lot of history, because I think it's the best of both worlds if we can get it to approve. Thank you.
Thank you, John Paul.
I'll take another moment, thank you. Jeff Genser, 32 First Street. I'd just like to say a couple of things about the comments The issues that the points that this gentleman just brought up,
Yeah,
Mr. Malfetta, the issues that you blame for the reasons why people are fleeing Montebello, et cetera, have
Jeff,
nothing to do with the village of Suffern whatsoever.
Jeff, you need to address the board, not Mr. Malfetta.
I'm sorry.
If you have something to say to us,
What he brought up has nothing to do with the village of Suffern whatsoever. It has to do with the national economy. The fact that our politicians that we voted in are working for corporations and banks. They don't give a hoot about the public anymore. And they've made it so that we as middle-class people can't afford to own houses anymore, not just in Suffern, all over the United States of America. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. The middle class in the U.S. since 2007's income's gone up 0.3%. In Canada, it went up 19.5%. So there's a concerted effort to screw the U.S. middle class. So to use some of the examples the gentleman just brought up as a reason why we should accept a pilot, which is a negative dollar-wise situation for the village. We're going to lose money with a pilot, not get any more money, and we're going to have people, we don't know who those people are, they're going to move in there. Yeah, we'd like to get a certain type of people there, but there's no guarantees. And I think it's important to realize that the problems that we have here, we're just a microcosm of the country. No one is to blame in the village for what's going on here. We need to fight it out in Washington. And to put a building over there that doesn't belong there in the current design, and then he's asking for a pilot in lieu of taxes. Ridiculous. Thank you. No more than 4 stories, commercial ground floor, 2 underground parking. Not enough parking right now for that thing. It's a disaster in the making. Please continue to vote no for it.
Thank you, Jeff. Marcello?
I came here for something else, but I don't know. You live in town, or you say the bicycle, they hit you on the streets, right? Okay. Listen, I've been here 28 years, and I try to keep up with the pace of the town. But if you come on the back of my building, okay, it's terrible, and I am right on the back of the hotel, okay. When do you think you're going to find somebody else to fix that piece of property? Another 25 years from now? So you can be an advocate of everything that you say. Oh, I'm sorry. A person can be an advocate of anything that you want. But if somebody else, not another deer, or something completely damaging, the area, then if you don't come with us with something in state of what we have right now, you only make the area terrible. Really, nobody wants to come. You come from Orange Avenue, you have nothing there. You are having on Lafayette Avenue, like Malfetta was saying, there is no money. Nobody wants to put a penny into the buildings. How long we can go through that? I came here about, a couple months ago, when everybody was complaining about the building. I guess they fixed some stuff. Most of the complaining was about the traffic. The traffic on Orange Avenue on a Friday night. I said to myself, if that is the most of the complaint, you think that these people on a Friday night at 5 o'clock, they're going to take their car to go shopping? That's crazy. If there is other problems like sewage or other stuff, then I understand. But the hotel right now has a lot of rooms already there. Nobody's taking care of anything. So I don't understand really. I think, and also another thing, if the board, right, if I make a phone call to any person of the board, don't I really need a phone call back? This is for Mr. Hagen, not Mr. Frank, right? I made a phone call, actually 2 times, okay, and I ask you to give me a call back. But, if you're part of the board, I think you should make phone calls and answer back or stop by to the residents and say, what's your concern? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcello. Okay, Jeff, no,
The parking issue would be exacerbated and a big problem if we had that building. He wouldn't have anybody to park to go to his restaurant.
Okay, Jeff, in the future, let's be respectful. We gave you time to speak. We did not interrupt you. You know, I really would wish that you would be respectful of the board and myself when I ask you. Thank you, I appreciate that. Okay, moving along. Let us go to the Department of Public Works, Charles Sawicki.
Mayor and the board, I am requesting authorization to attend the Stormwater Engineering for MS4's course offered by Cornell Cooperative Extension, located in Middletown, New York, on May 21st, 2014. The cost for the course is $230.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting authorization to modify the wastewater treatment plant heating and ventilating purchase order to Blend Air Mechanical. This modification will construct a platform raising the makeup air unit 46 inches above grade, avoiding potential flood damage at an additional cost of $1,400. The revised purchase order amount is $32,200.
Is that amount provided for already within existing funds? The extra?
This would be charged against the capital account.
Joe? So moved. Do I have a second?
I thought we were doing them separately.
Mr. Hagen?
Is this in your projected projects, Tom?
Yes, I actually the projection amount, if I remember correctly, was $45,000 for this particular item.
Right.
So we're below that.
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting authorization to approve the low bid proposal for replacement of fencing damaged as a result of securing the site during Hurricane Irene. Damaged Lonigan Drive homes. This proposal is from Anchor Fence and is the amount of $3,995. The cost of this work will be charged to the FEMA buyout account.
Motion.
So moved. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
I am requesting approval to create one maintenance helper position for the street department.
I have it right here.
Oh, you have that on there as well?
Right. Charles we've already sent this over to the county, and we have permission to create another position.
Okay, Charles, you want to explain?
Yes, the reason we have a one employee in the street department that we're changing his shifting his responsibility and shifting his title, changing his title.
Correct.
So this would be the position that he would move into, the helper, maintenance helper position.
And we should say at the same salary.
Same salary.
Correct. Okay.
This is no additional budget monies for this?
No.
No.
So moved.
But right now, I'm just asking you to create because we'd have
We're
to.
not we're not hiring anybody, Matt. It's just moving somebody into the position, and it's the same salary.
You know, I'd actually come back next month, most likely, to actually make that move.
Right.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
I am requesting the mayor to appoint Mr. Albert Chamberlain to the maintenance helper position at the street department at a pay rate of $24.53 per hour.
Okay, you want to also explain that Al is moving from the...
Right, Al was at the water department, and we are moving him to the street department in a different position. And
is that creating a vacant position now in the
Yes, and that would be the next item, the vacant
Just
position.
moving, we're just
is the
moving
next item.
personnel.
Yeah, we're shifting Al from the water department to the street department and moving Eric to the from the street department to the water department.
No net budget effect.
Actually, it would be
Less.
less money. It's less money
money.
overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So moved. Have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hagen,
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan. Yes. Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion is carried.
Excuse me. I am requesting the mayor to appoint Mr. Eric Anderson to the assistant maintenance mechanic position at the water department at pay rate of $27.32 per hour.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Hagen,
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan. Yes. Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion is carried.
All right, the next item, I'm going to withdraw. We had a call recently, the gentleman asked to have his name withdrawn from consideration for a position, so we're going to have to look at the other candidates.
Okay.
I am requesting approval to carry over 5 days of my vacation from fiscal 2014 to fiscal 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hagen,
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan. Yes. Mr. Byrne,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
Yes.
and I vote yes, motion is carried.
Thank you.
You don't get vacation. He doesn't get vacation. You don't get vacation.
I know.
You get the same vacation I get. You're right. Okay, village clerk.
First thing on the agenda, Mayor, are the 2 bids that we received for the concession stand up at the pool. One was $750, it was from Yassat. I can't even pronounce his last name, Hovkat.
What's hot?
For $750. And the other bid is from Meatballs for $700.
Now, this is a concession bid, so you don't have to give it to the highest bidder. You can take into account whatever considerations you think are relevant.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that B-Balls was ran our concession last year, and Kathy has told us that she was quite happy with them. They did a great job with no problems. Our other bid is looking to bring in grills and do a lot of different things that we're probably not equipped for at this time. So I'd like the board to make sure that they keep that in consideration when we are voting tonight.
Someone has to make a motion to accept which one?
Yes.
Move to accept the bid from Meatballs.
Second. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Thank you. Okay. Now we have 3 requests for tables and chairs. The first one is from Meatballs. They want 3 tables and 6 chairs.
And do we have,
This is all been approved by the code enforcer.
So moved.
second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
The second one is from Crumbs. I'm sorry. And their request is for 3 tables and 8 chairs.
And that's what they had last year, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Is it 6 chairs or 8 chairs? It says
8
6.
chairs he has.
He's got 6, you have 6 on the agenda, so it's 8.
It's 8 chairs.
Okay.
What is the time frame? Is there a
Yes,
window that it has to end?
yes, we do have that in the code. We have, date constraints. End of November.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
And we have the Shamrock Hotel. They requested 10 tables, chairs and umbrellas to go with them.
And that's a renewal as well, correct?
Yes, it is.
Do we know how many chairs? Does it matter?
He evidently needs 4 chairs to each table.
About
It's had for about 4 years.
He's got a lot of room.
Yeah.
He has an empty lot alongside of his building.
I know, but it's
It's got the whole
be in
plaza in
front.
the front. Yeah. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
We have a request for Memorial Day Parade. It's always been with the the American Legion up on the hill is requesting permission to hold it, and they want to start at 10:45 down at the Avon parking lot and continue up to our monument up here on Washington Avenue.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
We
And
had,
also-
excuse me, Kathy, didn't you have that down for 11:15? I was just wondering.
Yeah, 10:45 is lineup, Jeff.
Okay, so I got to be there at 10:40. I was,
And also
Yes,
they
because you
have,
set the pace, all right?
that's right, to keep up with me.
That's right. You do move fast during your parade.
they also said the ceremony will conclude around noon, and all will be invited to join them at the American Legion Post on Pavilion Road for refreshments. The next one is our grant writer, Fred Bella. His agreement comes up July 1st, Mayor.
Have a motion to renew the contract for Fred Rella?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. All right, Joe's motioning and Frank is seconding. Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan? Yes. Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
We have valet parking for Daninas down on Lafayette Avenue. This was given to the code enforcers, and they all agreed about that it was correct. Okay?
This is for the balance of the calendar year?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Also contingent on them giving this insurance.
Yes.
They have insurance.
Yes.
Oh, I know, they have.
I think they submitted us already. I think it's, yes, yes, it's in the application.
The insurance.
You want? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
The next, we have the live music from Marcella, which was tabled from 2 months ago.
Yes, Marcello, so you had brought it to us a special permit for live music, and the board had some concerns regarding a permit that you already held for your valet parking. We have received numerous complaints that the valet service is not adhering to the regulations of the permit, and they are using Lafayette Avenue for parking instead of using the B lot as is in the permit. I, myself, and Deputy Mayor Corrigan did go down as a courtesy to you, because you are a much valued restaurant owner in our village, to observe the valet parking down there. I personally observed your valet parking person not only park the car on Lafayette Avenue, but backed the car up, was parked a few spots away from the restaurant, and backed it up so that the person that had come out could get into his car and leave. Deputy Mayor Corrigan has seen similar incidents, as well as many residents. There has been several complaints regarding parking on the street. I spoke with the police chief, who has also told me that on numerous occasions they have come down to bring it to your attention. But it seems to be getting worse instead of better. So the board wanted to speak with you and hear from you with regards to this valet permit. And then, of course, if we're going to issue another permit to you, we want to make sure that we have our first permit in order before we go on to the following permit. So I invite you to the microphone to speak.
Mayor, I just make the observation that it looks like the same company is handling both valet enterprises, which is interesting. You would
Okay.
think that they would be in sync.
All right, well, we've been doing this for 17 years. So I only can say one thing. If there is one parking space, okay? I mean, we park about 32 cars on average. On a Saturday night, about 40 cars. In front of the restaurants, there's only maybe 3 spots left. So if the valet guy comes in, or a customer comes in, takes the parking, and there's no more parking. After 4 cars in front of the restaurant, there's no more car. So the guy has to go, of course, he has to go to the municipal parking lot. But if there is only 3 cars or 4 cars that they're parking on Lafayette, and he parks another 35 cars in the valley, isn't that a gain for the town either way? If I take the valley parking away, right? If I take the valley parking away completely, we will have another issue about parking anyway, because the first 5 cars that are coming in, they occupy the whole Lafayette.
Okay, Marcello, it's my understanding that if you're using valet service, that those spots in the front are only for your patrons that come in and do not use your valet service. Is that correct?
No, the way the valet parking arrives, okay, they parking in the front, okay, they go for the Chinese restaurant. I pay also for the Chinese. Just to let you know, because the Chinese, you would not do any takeout. They pulling in, okay. They go and picking up the whatever the to go from the Chinese. He doesn't pay a penny, okay. So I could provide that. Before I used to provide in the valet also for the bar across the street as well, or anybody that wants to valet if they want to go to the Zumba or whatever they want to go. Okay, if they cannot find parking on the streets, I allow them to valet anybody that they want. Okay,
but I think you're not understanding my question.
No, I understand your question very well, because you're right. If my valet guy takes the car and he goes into the municipal parking lot, okay, the time he's coming back, if he finds 1 car, he parks 1 car over here, he gets another car, he goes into maybe the 2nd spot, he comes to the 3rd car, he has to go to the valet, because the guy that arrives in front of a restaurant, the first parking spot he finds, he takes it. He's not stupid. He's not going to go and give the car to the valet if there is a spot in front of the restaurant. I understand the rules, I understand, but it would not make no sense. Okay. Because it still takes away 30 cars from the what they call them, from the streets.
Okay, let me turn this around on you just for a minute, okay? Yeah. This is your restaurant. Your valet person goes and gets that car and puts it on the street and goes back for another one because the people are not there or whatever the case is.
All right.
I pull up. I don't want to valet my car. I want to park my car.
So go park the car.
There's no parking spots because your valet people now have taken those up. I go right by and go up to another restaurant someplace out of the village.
I don't understand that. I don't understand.
The point is that your valet service is just that, Marcello. They should not be taking any spots on Lafayette Avenue. The purpose of having a valet service is to be able to have patrons who want to come in to the village and park their own cars, that there are spots there. Not for the Chinese.
But we only take it 2 parking space for basically.
One of the spots, the valet man parks his own car in every single day.
Right.
Oh, well, that we can tell. We, the police, you can tell him not to park over there. You know, right. I can understand. No, I don't know that. I can tell that. Yeah. But that's only 1 car, right?
Okay, but that's still 1 space.
Well, in the winter time, he's using because it's very cold. Okay, and then he comes out and then he parks. Listen, I understand. Listen, there is not a perfect situation on this.
Right.
Okay, there's no perfect situation. If you want to deny the valet, but I can't go and control everybody. No. I can't. I mean, I pay $2,000. Okay, a month. That's a rent.
Marcello, we don't want to deny anything.
I know, but what can I do?
We want to work out the fact that there's certain things that are being done by the valet service that we can't have happening. And
why don't we do something that we decided so long ago, but nobody has wanted to do it? Why don't we create in 1 spot with 3 valet guys, Danina, me, and the Chinese is somebody else. We create 1 spot, 4 valet guys, they taking, okay, you're eliminating the problem. I cannot be the only one, paying for it.
So why don't you work with them and do that?
Well, you created the spot in the middle. It doesn't even have to be in front of my restaurant.
Listen, once we know that you're all in agreement, we can then identify a spot, and it could be 1 valet station.
Okay, so then let's get Danina. Let's get Danina to get involved with me because he's the only one that is paying. Let's get the Chinese next door to me to contribute it. Let's do it. I was willing to do this a long time ago. My price will go down.
Thank you. Reach out to them. Let us know, and we'd be happy to work with the 3 of you.
But why don't you have somebody with the village to say, let's do this?
Because we can't offer a service to them that is somebody else's business. We cannot get involved.
Well, what's the best place to put it? Because that was the problem.
That's something that we would look into once we know that you guys have all agreed and that you're ready to do this. Then we would have the police chief and the code enforcer and our DPW supervisor go out there and identify the best place for it that works for everyone.
All right, so we have to connect it with the Chinese restaurant, me and Danina. We have 3 restaurants, so we find a place or somewhere, in between. We have we have to get the Chinese guy to really, come up with some money.
Now that you have 4 valet guys, you can't put 4 cars there for them to sit in to keep warm, all right? We agree?
No. See, the idea is that one guy is not able to park the car constantly all the time.
I agree. You need another guy.
Another guy. Well, then I'll just move into a parking lot, and then I'm cheaper, no? It's cheaper than being down. Sorry, but
okay, do that. Get back to us. Let us, if the board is in agreement, let's give Marcello 2 months on his valet parking permit to work this out, and we can revisit it then. Does that sound fair?
And the valet man will not park his car in one of those spots.
All cars must be parked in the B lot. Agreed?
Listen, I'm not going to commit it. I mean, I'm just trying to say I prefer to find the second option. I have somebody from the town to help us identify where we want to put the valet and deny the valet to Danina and deny the valet to
Okay, but I want to give you 2 months to get it all together because, I mean, if it gets together before that, that's great. But I don't want you to have no valet parking. So I want to extend your permit for 2 months so that you're able to talk to Danina, you'll be able to talk to the Chinese restaurant, we're able to identify a location, and all is good. And do you get that point? I'm not saying to you that I'm renewing your permit and that's it. You have to keep your own permit. What I'm saying to you is...
And what about if Danina says no and the Chinese guy says no? What do I do?
Then we're going to revisit it. But you have 2 months.
Okay. But I'll tell you something. The Chinese guy doesn't want to spend a penny. I asked him for $20 towards something. He didn't even want to spend the $20. So either we're imposing him that he must have it, or otherwise, still I pay for it.
So then you do it with you and Danina.
Danina says, I got my 5. What do you think Danina puts the cars? Explain to me. Okay. What do you think Danina puts the car? He has only 8 spots.
Okay.
Where do you think he puts it?
Well, he better be putting him in the B lot.
Come on, please. Let's be realistic, okay? He has a party room upstairs. He has parked in the body. He has only 6 spots in this parking lot. So he has to park the cars on the streets as well, like everybody else. But the problem is not about the parking. The problem is that the person that comes in town, if he doesn't find the parking for himself, he has some help. If an older person, an handicapped person, okay, if he can't find the parking on the street, he has the choice to stop in front of Danina, to stop in front of Marcello, get the person, get out, okay? And then, if he doesn't want to park his own car because he can't find nothing, the valet guy takes it. So if the valet guy is able to find the parking, maybe three parking further, it may be parked over there quicker.
Marcello, that's against the regulations of the valet parking permit.
Can we change it to something that is a little bit...
We cannot change it. The purpose of valet parking is to free up spots in the downtown.
It does.
Okay,
it parks 40 cars. You only find 3 on the streets.
You can't have the best of both worlds. It's either valet parking or it's no valet parking. You can't have all the spots on the street plus valet parking in the B lot. It's one or the other. We created the valet parking so that...
Okay, but then then we have to make a choice. But can you appoint somebody to help him with this?
I can't
go in and be myself, the guy that is going to be the spokesman to this.
We cannot broker that deal for you.
But why don't we do another thing? Okay, that's even better for the town. Okay, why not we creating a parking space in the middle of Lafayette Theater? I mean, in the middle of Lafayette, okay? Somewhere where anybody can go and valet. Anybody. Means Zumba, the whatever is on there. What's the name? Ole. We put them right into the middle. And it's not paid by me. It has to be paid by somebody.
Okay, that's something that we can't engage in. We cannot get involved in a business that's going to get involved with you in making money. We cannot do that. We cannot advertise for them. We cannot broker a
So
deal.
why don't you give us then allocate it to 5 parking space in the middle, and then we will figure it out that the valet guy, he will create a valet for everybody.
No, I have to have commitments from those people before I can locate anything.
All right, I will. I try.
And park illegally in the V lot. And cannot park his car in one of the 2 spots. And park illegally in the V lot. And letter to be sent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And Marcello, if it need be extended because you don't have it all together yet, we could do that. Or if it turns out that it doesn't work out, and you'll come back and we'll work your valet parking in. Well, if you. Okay, let's after you get together with them and you figure out who it is that'll be using the valet parking, we can talk about all that. Good? We'll set up a meeting. Okay. Finance Department, Tom.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Let's see. Water and sewer billings were mailed out on April 30th. Total billings were $1,513,230. And I'd like to thank all the people that are paying promptly. I appreciate it. I'm requesting approval of lease financing for the new telephone system in the amount of $21,000, I think it's $203. This is with First Niagara Bank. We're replacing the phone system that we have because it's a little antiquated. It's old. Antiquated. Thank you. And it's so old that to buy a replacement, if a phone breaks, we have to search eBay and pray that someone has one for sale because they just don't make them anymore. They don't have them in stock in the back room anymore. So we have to upgrade it. And what we're doing to pay for this is we have, again, an old phone system that is what they call copper lines. I think it's a plain old telephone. It's called POTS. And what happens is, like, you have your phone bill. Each line you have, you pay for, like $9 a month. Well, what happens is we're going to get a little modern and get what they call T1 service. And because of that, we can put 23 lines into one line, one cable, so to speak. And we only pay for that one. Instead of paying for 23 individual ones, we pay for one. And this in turn is going to save us I think it was a little over $600 a month. And that'll more than cover the monthly payment for the new phone system. So one of the things that I had to do was see what kind of financing is the most feasible. And basically we have 3 types of financing. We can either get a long-term bond, get a what we call a bond anticipation note, which is generally for a 5-year period, or we can lease it from a leasing company. All right.
It's not lease.
It's a
installment purchase contract.
Installment purchase contract, and everybody has to remind me of this, even though as an accountant I should know this. I was on a CPA exam. Anyway, yes, I did pass. Anyway, so those are our 3 options. Now, based on a $21,000 figure, getting a long-term bond for, say, 10 years would not be feasible because the cost associated with getting a bond, for getting your bond counsel, getting your auditors involved, and getting a financial professional involved that puts the bond out for bidding, would probably cost more than what we're going to borrow. So that would not be a prudent thing to do. Getting a band, on the other hand, a 5-year note, I don't think a bank would be willing, first of all, to issue a band for $21,000. But here again, you'd have to pay bond counsel, which for a band now is roughly $900, and you're going to do it for 5 years, so that's $4,500 for bond counsel. And then you're subject to interest rate fluctuation each year when you renew it. So that would not be a wise thing to do, in my opinion. So this installment purchase seems to be our best option, least costly in the long run. And like I said, it would coincide with our monthly savings on our phone bill. So that area that you're paying for the phone system, and then is offset by the actual cost of phone usage. So that being said, I had given the board a little synopsis, and I would ask at this time if you guys could authorize me to go ahead and make this installment purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the installment purchase agreement for $21,000.
Mr.
First Agribank.
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes, and really, this is just another instance of Mr. Zordan saving us money on utilities and other things. Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Jack?
Yes. This is a motion to accept the proposal of Viewfinders Marketing Research Company, which is located in Pearl River, New York. And the proposal is for $2,500, and it's to be funded from the grant from the Suffern Community Foundation.
Jack, do we have a commitment from the Community Foundation?
No, they're gonna be meeting tomorrow night. I've spoken to them, to the members.
Okay, so we're gonna have to authorize it subject to their approval?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that would be fine with me. Subject to the approval of the Community Development Board.
Do I have
and I so move.
Do I have a second? Second.
Just some discussion, Mayor, if I could.
Sure.
Some of the concerns I raised at the workshop. We've created a downtown committee at the direction of Trustee Meehan, and there's 20 some odd people who have an awful lot of talent in areas of trying to revitalize our downtown. And this proposal is to conduct a study, market research to determine why people aren't coming downtown. I think there's a lot of talent in that room, frankly. And while I certainly applaud the desire to revitalize, I've lived in Suffern for 47 years, and downtown revitalization has been a topic for each of those 47 years, or let's say the last 40 I remember. As a board member who has a business downtown and owns a building downtown, I have a vested interest in all of that. I just question the need to spend more money to study something when we have a large group of people sitting in a room with a lot of talent, a lot of expertise, and I just would like to exhaust those minds first and get there. I don't think this is a rocket science kind of question, frankly, and I just think that the spending. And I know it's not a lot of money, and I know that the foundation, of which I'm a member, and I haven't been asked whether I support it yet or not, but and I may be in the minority. I just think we could spend money on something else, and I think we should exhaust the talent that we have from all the volunteers who have offered to serve on that committee. Thank you.
Let me respond. And I've been to the meeting, and we do have a lot of talented people. None of the people on our committee have experienced specific experience in market research. However, we have a lot of people with experience in marketing and in sales and in a lot of other areas, but not specifically in market research. Market research is a science, and that's why a lot of most Fortune, well, 99% of Fortune 500 companies use market research to promote their products. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be conducting 3 different focus groups. At the end of conducting these focus groups, and the members of the focus groups are very carefully and scientifically selected by professionals in market research. And at the end of that, they will come up with a questionnaire. Then that questionnaire will be distributed village-wide and to areas outside our village as well. And we're going to come up, hopefully, with the answers to the questions. The village of Suffern has spent over $1 million, mostly in grant money, having new streets and sidewalks and lamps, and really tried to make the downtown better. And I know that the Chamber of Commerce of the village has spent a lot of money in marketing endeavors, but we have not been successful. And I'm hoping that this scientific approach, the same approach that's taken by Fortune 500 companies and by political candidates, successful political candidates, will help us out and give us a direction for the marketing of this village. On the vote?
Okay, do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hagen?
I forgot. Yes.
Yes.
Yes is to
Mrs. Corrigan?
do something with the money.
Mr. Byrne?
No.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion is carried.
Just so it's clear, I think you said it would be.
Yes, subject to.
Subject to funding by the Community Foundation.
Yes. And he agreed to that. Yes. Okay, thank you, Jack. Moving on.
Mayor, may I?
You may.
Since Marcello asked me a question, he's not here.
He's not here.
Just to answer Mr. Marcello and the many threatening emails and phone calls, I'm surprised my house wasn't burned down. Why would I call somebody back that wants to attack me for a decision I made? So I chose the high road, not to call people back. I'm talking about the pilot program.
Okay.
So if I didn't respond, I think I did the right thing. If people feel I have to respond to them, my address is in the book. Write me a letter. I'll write back to you. Or come to a board meeting where you ask me a question where we're discussing the pilot. Thank you.
Okay. Moving along. Jack, you were done, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you, Board.
Okay. So, we don't often get commendation letters, but I found this one to be really wonderful, and I wanted to share it. When we had the fire over on Stewart Circle over at Berkeley Square, we had 2 officers over there, Sergeant Dave Tarantino and Officer Lou Venturini, and I received a letter from the mayor of Sloatsburg commending their actions over there and commending their dedication, using their training to save so many lives over there by knocking on doors, and their quick and swift response in getting the people out of the buildings. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone and to thank Sergeant Tarantino and Officer Lou Venturini for their service to this village, and to thank our chief for having such wonderful officers out there keeping us safe every day. The next thing we're going to talk about is, Isabel, pay attention, is tonight we have a resolution to request the Senate and the Assembly to amend the Rockland County Police Act. What we're trying to accomplish, quite frankly, is we have been approached by the Village of Airmont and the Village of Hilburn to contract police services with the Village of Suffern. The problem was that there is, under the Police Act, legislation that does not allow villages to contract with villages for police services. So this resolution that we are entering into tonight would ask the Senate and the Assembly to revisit that legislation and allow villages to contract with villages for police services. And when we were first approached by the village of Airmont, of course, it was something that we really truly wanted to investigate. It's not something that we sought. It's not something that we went out after, but we were approached. And when we sat down and we figured out what the expense would be to the village, what the savings would be to the village in our own budget, what the expense would be to Airmont, and what the savings would be to the Airmont taxpayers, it was a no-brainer. It just totally made sense. Our police budget takes, the portion of our budget for police services is very, very large. We would be able to reduce that to our Suffern taxpayers while not taking away any services to our own village. And in addition to that, all of the officers that would be hired would create jobs. We would not be looking for anyone in the town of Ramapo. If the town of Ramapo felt that they needed to downsize their police department, we would absorb those police officers. We are not looking for anyone to lose their jobs. We are just looking for an opportunity to save our taxpayers a significant amount of money, as well as working with other communities so they also can be saving a lot of money. This will in no way, shape, or form affect the police coverage that we have right now. Our services will remain the same, and quite frankly, we may even be adding services because there's going to be more police officers out on the street, and Airmont borders our village, and they are so close that in emergency situations we would have actually more police officers responding than we do now. And you know, it's always been, when I took this job as mayor, you know, keeping taxes down is something that I truly believe in this day and age we need to look into. So I felt it was my duty to look into this, and it truly would save our taxpayers a significant amount of money. Shared services is becoming a very big thing, and it does work, and it does save us money. So these are things we're looking into. And like I said, tonight is just asking for the legislation to be revisited and to allow villages to contract with villages for police services. Tonight, we have also been approached by the village of Hillburn, mayor and board, who also are interested in working with the Suffern Police Department. Again, not any services in this village will be in the least bit affected, and again, it will significantly impact a reduction in taxes for our taxpayers here in the village of Suffern. So yes, I'm going to have Terry explain to you the procedural content of the resolution.
Right. Again, you know, we talked before about the parking authority, and tonight we passed the last step for the village in that scenario, which was the home rule request. As I mentioned earlier, the first step was to ask the Assembly and the State Senate to have their bill drafters draft the appropriate legislation. So that was already done with respect to Airmont. This is one that would be done with respect to Hillburn. And so if it's approved by both Hillburn and Suffern, then we'll send it to the various houses in the state legislature. Their bill drafters will draft the bill. If it's in the form that we find acceptable, then we'll again be called upon with respect to that legislation to pass the home rule requests. If that's passed, then the legislation, you know, the bar that presently exists will be eliminated, and then we can negotiate whatever contracts and agreements benefit both municipalities. So this is just the very preliminary stage to get the ball rolling so that it at least legally can happen if both municipalities agree.
it's my understanding, if the current Rockland County police law, which prohibits villages, if that's repealed, that's all that we would need to be.
Right, well, that's what this is asking for. This is asking to have it,
Or is that bill?
to have it amended, have the Rockland County Police Act amended so that that particular prohibition would be removed.
Okay.
Terry,
I thought that was the whole Rockland County Police Act.
Yeah, I mean, it's a state statute and it exists and it's the impediment that we have.
Okay.
Does there have to be a separate resolution for each municipality, or if there's an amendment to the act, it's going to be
Well,
a
the
general?
amendment to the act is going to be all encompassing. It would affect, villages in Rockland County, but, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Airmont or Byrne have the choice whether or not to go forward with this, and that's why we're doing it with the communities that are anticipating this type of cooperative agreement.
So for argument's sake, if another municipality approached us after there was a successful amendment to the Police Act, we would not have to go to the state anymore.
Once the legislation is changed, it's
This is
changed.
only for the purpose for the change in the legislation.
And tonight, obviously, you've already said this is not a commitment to the details of an
Far from
agreement between any municipality,
So far from it.
it's simply kind of an agreement to start the discussion and to work out with the state whether or not it can even happen.
It's just the beginning of trying to get the Rockland County Police Act amended.
Because I think obviously, I don't want to speak for anyone else on the board, but I think the mayor's already said it. I would like to see any savings, and if it's as substantial as we think it may be earmarked for tax stabilization, tax reduction would be even better, and that'd be, we're not even there yet, I realize that, but certainly I would be supportive of something that saved the taxpayers and actually reduced taxes would be a wonderful thing, provided the details could be worked out. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mrs. Corrigan?
Yes.
Mr. Byrne?
Yes.
Mr. Meehan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion is carried. Okay, the next item I have is a review of the pilot agreement. Mr. Meehan and Mr. Hagen had some serious concerns with the pilot agreement for the Orange Avenue project. Mr. Meehan had suggested that an attorney be engaged to review the pilot program and to give opinion on how it would impact the village. Orange Avenue developers have agreed to pay up to $5,000 to have this done. This attorney is from Uniondale, New York. He has no attachments to either Mr. Goldstein or the project or the village of Suffern. And he has returned to us, which we just received today, his opinion on the Orange Avenue Associates pilot program. I would also like to mention to you that he has also emailed me to let me know that he was able to reduce the pilot to 35 years, not 40 years. And he would like for us to review this report from Mr. Fritz and revisit Mr. Curry, sorry. Yes, Mr. Curry. He works for Fritz, right. And to vote on the pilot, to bring it up for a vote again. So I have made copies of the opinion of Mr. Curry. If anyone would like to come up and get one, you are more than welcome to. Kathy will bring them down. I urge you to please read through it. It is actually a favorable recommendation, and you'll get a sense of why Mr. Curry believes that it is beneficial to the village. So I urge you to please take one and read it. I think at this time we will be setting a special meeting to have a vote again on the pilot program after we have been able to review the recommendations of the attorney, and in lieu of the fact that the pilot has now been reduced to 35 years, the applicant has asked for this to be revoted on.
You did? It says engagement here, so I was under the impression. Okay. Okay.
Workshop, I think.
Okay.
We did it.
Yeah, we did. So what is the board's pleasure on setting a date for a special meeting?
Thursday?
Incidentally, it was on the agenda for tonight. We probably could have voted on this tonight, but I truly felt as though I wanted the public to be able to have an opportunity to review Mr. Curry's recommendations, as well as the board to have time to also digest the information. So I did not feel it was an appropriate time to take a vote tonight. That is why we are not voting on it tonight, but are going to set a special meeting to vote on the pilot, which will not be a public hearing, by the way, because it's just, we've already had the public hearing on it. We're just, this is just revoting, bringing up for another vote. Thursday, everybody available Thursday?
I'm not available until about 7.
7.
I got a game. It's supposed to be over at 6:30, but it goes into extra innings. 7:30 would be better.
Come to you.
7:30. No, I'm available earlier than later.
Well, I'd be available, during the day, like at noon or something. I just have that window.
Joe's a working woman. Unless you want to do 7:30 in the morning.
I mean,
and nobody could be here.
I mean, if need be, come in on my lunch hour.
At noon?
And is that, what does the rest of the board think? Matt, Matt, I can't.
Well, I
Sorry, Matt.
I won't be voting, but I may still attend, but I'll defer to everyone else's schedule, obviously.
Thursday?
Thursday at
Okay,
noon.
noon?
Does that work for the rest?
Thursday at noon?
That's
Yeah.
just a special meeting.
Correct.
So the public doesn't need to.
No, the public can't come. They can come. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Encouraged to come, but there'll be no comment.
Claire?
Yeah, 15th,
May
correct.
15th?
May 15th.
May 15th.
Everyone feels that that's enough time for them to be able to read over?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Also, it's a note, could we televise it just like we do this meeting?
Sure, why not?
Because a lot of people do.
As long as we have somebody available, Kathy, can you get somebody available? It'll be, I don't think it'll be very long, maybe 15.
12 o'clock?
I'm sorry? Noon on May 15th. No, not that I've been given. Nothing. Just the 35 years. Sure. They're ordered. I know, they're ordered. I actually just, who did I speak to? I forgot who I was speaking to. Maybe it was Bill Pam. To let him know that they're ordered. We're just waiting for them to come in. And we,
No, it's me. Yeah, I talked.
oh, it was Jack.
Mr.
Jack.
Rosenberg.
Right, it was Jack, and we just talked about it. They are ordered, and they are going to be installed as soon
Have we
as
decided where they're
as they get here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Decided where they're going?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to decide.
And John Suffern Park, huh?
No, they're going at Avon Park and John Suffern Park, sorry, yes. Yes. Okay, the next item I have is in thinking about working on the downtown committee, and walking the village every day, and looking at all the vacant stores that have been vacant for quite some time, it occurred to me that a lot of them are in disarray and kind of cause a blight look to the village. So I spoke to the attorney, Terry Rice, and we have come to put together a vacant building law. And I will let Terry explain to you some of the things that we incorporated into it. And we're hoping that these will be a little incentive to our downtown building owners to try to get these buildings cleaned up, maintained, and hopefully filled.
Okay, thanks. I emailed a first draft to the board members today, so if you have any comments, I'd like to have them. I kind of constructed what I thought the board might be interested in doing with respect to the issue. And basically, if a building is going to be vacant, it's got to be maintained, first of all. And, it's got to keep up its appearances to the extent possible so that it doesn't look like it's a vacant building, but it's just part of the community. And by the way, it doesn't apply just to the stores, although that's the main impetus behind the law. Also requires registration and a payment so that there's the ability to recover our costs for policing it and various other maintenance standards. It's not instead of our maintenance law or the provisions in the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, but in addition to them, and as we've said in the law, in the case there's any conflict between the two, the most stringent will apply. So I would appreciate it if you take a look at it and you have any suggestions or criticisms, whatever. I'd be happy to make the changes, and hopefully if you could do that sooner rather than later so that we can hold a public hearing at the June 2nd village board meeting and get this enacted.
And we also will put this on the website as soon as Terry has tweaked it and has heard from the board members.
Yeah.
It will be available on the website for your review. So I need a motion to set a public hearing.
So moved.
What time? 7:40?
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, we talked about the parking lots already with Scott. We're moving on to the VFW building. It was with a very heavy heart that I had a visit from Mr. Carlotta and Mr. Clifford with regards to the VFW building on Ramapo Avenue. As years have gone by, and we have lost so many of our wonderful servicemen, and they have gone on in years, it has been becoming more increasingly difficult for them to keep and maintain the VFW building, which is, to me, I've never known Ramapo Avenue without that building. So it was sad for me to come to know that they are going to be looking to sell the VFW building. And it would be a great hindrance on them because they also, selling the building, would have to leave the building and try to find other smaller quarters to continue on the great work that they do with scholarships and in the community. So I had the opportunity to sit and spoke to both of these fine gentlemen, and it looks like we are in agreement for the Village of Suffern to purchase the VFW building. And we will be working with their attorneys to finalize the agreement with them. We would like to keep our VFW members in the building. We don't want them to leave, so they will remain on and pay their expenses there. We will also be taking over the parking spots, the commuter parking spots that are there. We will be getting the fees from that as well per month. There's about 38 spots. And the building also, I'm sure that most of you have been in it at some occasion. You'll know that it's a great recreational building in which we could use for our own events, as well as renting out to different individuals who are looking for a hall to have an event in. I'm also looking to maintain the history of the VFW in this building, to keep the wonderful memorabilia that they have on the walls, to keep the history intact in the building, as well as our VFW members. So I'm hoping by next month's meeting I will have more details for you. Mr. Carlotta, I don't know if you want to come up and say anything, or Dave, do you want to say, I know you had said you wanted to say a few words. Oh my God, I can't even, I'm like, I'm comfortable.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Charles Carlotta. I'm the commander of the VFW post here in Suffern. I do not live in Suffern. I live in Airmont. And I kind of hope your deal with the Airmont police don't go through, the village doesn't go through, so your policeman won't be knocking at my door. No, I think that's fine. I think it's a wonderful collaboration of police departments. It is. But really, Mayor, what I came here to do is to thank you for your creative and leadership abilities in our reaching a conclusion of what we can do with our building. We dreaded the thought of possibly it could be demolished for whatever other reason. And we didn't want to see that, and you very well summarized the reasons why that building should remain the way it is in honor and tribute to our veterans. And on behalf of all our members, we deeply thank you for housing us at the building, that we can remain and do and pursue the work that we have been doing over all these years. Our post here in Suffern is getting on to 80 years old, so we've been in business a long time, and we're looking very much forward to the ability to keep going on and perpetuate the memories of those that have served in the past, served in the present, and remain there now. I'd like to say we'd love to see more members come in, but on the other hand, I don't love to see any more wars. Thank you very much, and we look forward to your kind consideration.
Thank you, Charlie. Last item. It's getting warm in here. I don't know if anybody else is feeling it. Oh my. Wow. It's like,
I'm finally comfortable.
I feel like I'm in Florida. They're horrible. Okay, last item is, we have tried removable speed bumps throughout the village, and they just seem to end up in the river, or to be pulled up, or to be destroyed. So I was trying to find ways to be able to slow down traffic, especially on Ramapo Avenue, as well as Oakdale Manor and Memorial Drive. And I've been doing my research, and it seems like the speed humps now are the thing of the future, and they work quite well. Because if you hit that at a high rate of speed, trust me, you'll never do it again. You'll remember that it's there. And we really need to be more conscientious of keeping our streets safe. You know, we have a lot of children, we have a lot of senior citizens here, and we really need to be more diligent in keeping our roads safe. And in his wisdom, Chief Clerk Osborne started our Safe Roads program a few years back, and has really kept up on looking at the different roads in the village and making sure that they remain safe. So we have identified that these are 3 streets that truly need some help with speed reduction for safety concerns. In addition to a stop sign up in Bon Air that I'm going to let Chief come up and explain to you what it's all about.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. One of the things we do is we identify, problem areas due to resident complaints of motorists, and obviously officer observations. And one of the areas we've had a lot of concern of is Bon Air Circle. As you come up the hill, I guess you'd be traveling south at the intersection of Milford Lane. Coming north on Bon Air Circle, there's a stop sign. Up to the top of Milford, there's a stop sign. It's a 2-way stop sign, but there's 3 ways at that intersection. One of the concerns we have, and I just spoke to Charles, we're going to work together with John Lang and get a traffic engineer. We've had requests. I actually spoke to a group of residents of Bon Air West, parents of children at Montebello Elementary, and I met with them, and they were concerned about that intersection not having a stop sign. The concern is coming up the hill, you have to have a certain line of sight to the stop sign. I know there's other things we can do, like put a sign, stop sign ahead, or there's similar things. I want to get a traffic engineer in there, John Lang, just to give us an idea if it is practical to put one there and safe. But that is definitely a concern. We actually had it brought up at one of the condo meetings I attended. 3 different condo presidents brought up to me. So we're gonna continue ahead with this, and we're gonna hopefully get John Lang this week to give us an assessment of what he thinks before I bring it to the board.
That's a good idea, Clerk. I was out there looking at it today, and it does, I mean, I'm sure there's things that you can do to make, the line of sight better on that, but right now, as it stands, I would have a concern about that as well. So I think it makes sense to have John look at it.
I appreciate it, man. Next month I'll come back, and if it does look like it can be worked out, we'll ask for the public hearing. So with that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so we're just, we'll just wait for your recommendation and John's recommendation on the stop sign. Okay, but then I would need a motion for the speed humps on Brownville, Oakdale, and Memorial.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.